I can't believe you're pregnant. Again. Shout out to Unknown Henson. If you don't know that name, Google it. It's worth it.
Oh, yes.
You'll have yourself a dang old good time.
You'll have a real good time if it's your first jaunt with the unknown. You will. It's great, man.
It's funny enough to open up a country western song with "I can't believe you're pregnant," but the again. I'm Jared, y'all. In case you don't know,
I am Josh. It's good to be here, my man.
That's all anybody's talking about is wrestling reproductive rights these days.
we need to rip off Brian Zane and call this show W3 and Wrestling Reproductive Rights. We'll spell all of them with W's.
Yeah.
Oh, change wrestling to wrestling and do R3 and then he won't sue us. Wrestling Reproductive Rights.
Not even the same thing.
It's not, man. It had nothing to do with you. What about that video where you said we ripped it off? Aw.
Well.
Wow. Aw.
Gotta go.
For real.
Man, that I was mad at myself because everybody kind of it's maybe it's something to do with great minds thinking alike. When everybody had the same joke, like, is this another reason to hate Seth Rollins? Did we really need another one?
Seriously, man.
So, but man, everybody's giving their opinions on that stuff, and I'm just like, man, good for them. What better time to do it? Yeah, I guess it's kind of my idea. It's like, man, don't seem to be any time on the horizon we're going to be able to get in front of a live crowd. Why not do it now?
I agree. It's stupid. My main thing, we were talking about a little bit off camera, man, is that people love, like people, I include myself in this, we do love when our wrestlers do real stuff. Sorry, guys, I just ate, so I'm all belchy. I'm sorry. And Jared and I were talking. I loved Asuka's reaction. Either she did not know, or she's just a real good actress. Because to me, it seemed like she was finding out when we found out, and maybe that wasn't the case at all. But even if but if it wasn't real, they played it up like it was that. So it was neat for us watching, because it's like, man, we found out when y'all found out. That's real cool. But the main point I wanted to make was we love that real stuff when people just come out and talk. We talked about it. Corny was killing her for dropping character, and apparently he wanted her to come out and drink a couple of beers. Yeah, I'm pregnant, by the way. Stone cold, apparently, is what he was trying to do. But here's to you. But I thought it was cool that she was back to just doing Rebecca Quinn early. I thought it was cool. I loved the interview. I thought it was cool. It was nice to see old Becky again, because don't get me wrong, they shouldn't change Becky because she's more popular than she's ever been. It's just I like the other stuff better. This works for everybody. This way it works for everybody. But I think
it was getting kind of stale.
I thought everything does. I think that's one of the problems with everything being on the social media plate. Crap gets burned out. Andy Warhol, I would love to get Andy Warhol's take on social media, because, man, when he said 15 minutes of fame, it's fascinating that I'm not saying that he predicted Twitter, but he damn sure knew how it was going to go. It's fascinating. Yeah. I think about that all the time, man. But, yeah, things get burned out so quick now. It's like, dude, you can't keep anything fresh. Nobody likes anything anymore.
Maybe this is a blessing in disguise, a way to mix it up.
It could be. I think the thing, like I keep talking about real stuff, man, but yeah, it's like the only way that character or that person or anybody really, but we'll just talk Becky specifically now because it's her. The only way she could have gotten that reaction out of a crowd, other than to do what she did, is to come out and say, yeah, broke my neck, can't work anymore. And it's nice to have one of those really heartfelt announcements over something positive for once. You know what I mean? I think that's cool. That was my whole thing, is the whole, well, it wouldn't happen in my day because the girls weren't booked. I died. Jared knows I'm ill at. I understand that Corny's a professional shit stirrer. I know that's what he likes to do. I'm not. It's mean to say because I don't know the man's heart. But when I tell you that I don't believe his atheism thing and I don't believe his Democratic Party thing, he's just a guy that lives in the Republican South. He is famous and wealthy for going the other way. So I don't know how much sincerity's in there. I just know it's good for your brand to say these things. But for the things that he had to say about her and Seth getting pregnant, I don't know. I think he just might have stepped in it a little bit too deep this time. And it's not what you're going to hear on social media. It's got nothing to do with death threats, people getting mad, because people do that all the time. I'm saying that people will very quietly unsubscribe and walk away from you. Just wouldn't surprise me. Mainly because I'm getting way sidetracked. To stay on the positive.
There will come a day when this is too far.
Yeah, and people just stop. They don't always give you that, whatever her name was, his producer back in the day, the old Brian Last, who quit over his Islamic stuff.
Yeah.
Some people don't give you that, especially the people on Twitter that don't know you. Some people don't want to make a spectacle of it and make you, oh man, I just can't stand you no more, la-di-da. A lot of folks just like, okay, that's good, and they just tune out, and you don't see them again.
I don't need to be unblocked because I'm not on Twitter.
Oh God, thank God, serious. That's one of the best decisions I made. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have my Instagram, but no Facebook, no Twitter. God, it's like, and it's weird because a lot of people, Facebook catches a lot of crap, and it should, because it's awful and it's run by awful people, which means Instagram is too, because they own it. But Twitter is just, I never got any joy out of that at all, man. It was like Twitter was just, I think it's the worst one, but it just depends on which one you like. They're all equally crap.
I think. Now,
yeah, just a second. There we
go. Yeah. Either way it shakes out, we're going to get to what I wanted in the first place, which was Shayna versus Asuka. If this was something that you were trying to do, if it was something you thought could possibly be on the horizon, I would have. If it were me booking it, I would much rather had Shayna win at Mania. I don't know if that had happened yet or not. Who knows? Either way, we can still get that when Asuka's the champ and Shayna's like, I know you never lost your NXT championship and you just got this one, so now I'm going to beat your ass for that. Either way, Asuka and Shayna was what I wanted, and I think that's hopefully what we're going to get. So, however it shakes out, that's the what I wanted it to all build up to in the first place.
I'm the same way. I had a little bit of a different path to get there because, my thing was that and I'm still mad about this because I love Charlotte, and I don't like to jump into the chorus of people dissing Charlotte because I think about the only two people I know of that like Charlotte are on this conversation right now, because people just talk crap about her all the time. And I guess my problem with it is, yeah, her last name's Flair. Yeah, her dad's famous. I get all that. But have you ever seen any of the girls have matches half as good as hers? Because I haven't.
No.
I haven't. So you have the best worker with the championship. Call me crazy. I liked Kurt Angle. I didn't mind when Eddie Guerrero was champ. I'm cool when the best worker has the title. I don't give a crap what their last name is anyhow.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you weren't calling up Rhea, which thank God they didn't, because I love Rhea. I think Rhea's great. But I wish it would have been Asuka instead of Charlotte, who goes to NXT, challenges for the belt, wins the title. And if you had Shayna win at WrestleMania, you could have dominant NXT Women's Champ and current Raw Women's Champion Shayna Baszler against now two-time and still undefeated NXT Champ Asuka, and I would main event a show with that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a wrestling match, so God forbid we do that, but I'm with you. That would have been awesome. Awesome. And honestly, I think what I would have done, and don't get me wrong, but clearly they're not interested in making Shayna Baszler unbeatable because they just had her lose. But I would have Asuka actually win that match. Then you win and you pick which one you want. You can have an NXT tournament. This is how Rhea Ripley gets back on the mountaintop. Starts going through everybody to win this tournament. Then she becomes the champ, and somewhere along the way, if you want Asuka to just try and be double champion to prove a point, have her show up in an NXT pay-per-view and be Raw Women's Champ versus NXT Women's Champ, and that is when Rhea beats her. That'd be unbelievable, man. It would be a lot cooler if it was for the title, but hey, man, if you wanted to have both, I got no problem with two belts. Hey, man, we got rid of that. Well, if you're a double champ, you have to give up one of the titles. No, you don't. Hey, man, that would be even cooler if you wanted her to have them both. But I understand that's a lot of TV time for Asuka, and that's not Vince's girl. But I would love that. I think that'd be just such a cool way to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think Rhea Ripley being the first loss for Asuka is cool, but especially if you milk it like that, I think that would have been cool as hell, man.
Yeah. That's just kind of with the way things shipped out. I would, you know, would have much rather had, you have the Becky and Shayna thing go down at Mania, and then but you still end up kind of where I hope that's what we're going to do is just have Shayna and Asuka, and then they'll just have a series that would probably be pretty freaking awesome.
I think so too. I think Baszler Asuka, I'm totally with you, would just be killer. But I don't know, man. Going back a long enough ways, I'm not sure when I would have ever had Asuka lose anyway. I'm too much
Yeah.
of a mark for her, man. I think she's great. But yeah, the two of them working together, I think, would be awesome. And I think Asuka Rhea would be awesome. So it's like, man, between those three, that'd be just killer.
What one quick thing that has nothing to do with anything
Oh, that's
that I
cool.
was reminded of, that something I've been meaning to point out for weeks now, it feels like. But talking about having dinner before the show, I stopped and got my usual Sunday night Papa John's. And is it just me or those papaditas look disgusting?
Yeah, I can't
Good,
get down with that. Every
good
time I
Lord, they
see,
look gross.
yeah, every time I see a commercial for those, I'm like, man, I'm going to Taco Bell getting me a quesadilla, man. Because Lord help,
No, thank you.
yeah, it's
No,
like
thank you.
anything with Dia. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna go Taco Bell. They know how to make them because they're
Nope.
those are awesome. Taco Bells are awesome, man.
I don't. I don't need anybody at Papa John's to be like. So you take the pizza and you fold it over onto itself.
Yeah, but what you
Where
want
y'all
to,
been?
but for the record, make sure you don't put any sauce on it so it's dry as shit. Because that's literally it's just a big dough ball with cheese and whatever crap you order on it. I'm like, okay, so you doing this with no sauce? Good idea.
No,
Crazier.
thank you.
Seriously, man, y'all crazy.
And I got up. I got on my a Chick-fil-A kick again, and the Chick-fil-A kick uh, that you can get. I don't know if these are available everywhere, if we're just like a test market or what the deal is, but there's on the Chick-fil-A app. You can't get it at every location, but the one in Dango Carrollton has the Chick-fil-A chicken parmesan
Yeah.
box, and it's dang good. But my thing is I don't follow recipes or instructions to the T, because you get your little box of uh, kale salad and noodles and marinara and cheese, and you get two Chick-fil-A patties to cook with it. When you order it, and when you pick it up from the dude at the drive-thru, he's like, I hear this feeds two people. It's like, not at my place, it won't. So
Only if you're a coward.
you get it home, and it has you all the instructions on how to fix it up and this, that, and other thing. All you got to do is just put it in the microwave, because using the little, they have you saute in a pan and putting the noodles in there, then putting the kale in there. Like, I just take that kale and orange little uh, plastic thing and just throw it in the bin.
Yeah, I put it in the bin.
Not going to be needing this. They probably could give you a little bit more marinara with it, but when you open the thing up, there's like this huge packet of Alfredo in it. That at first I was like, "Is this ranch?" But turns out it wasn't. So luckily I didn't throw it away. I almost did.
That I kept.
Nonetheless, point is, if you're close enough to a Chick-fil-A that has that on the menu, it's worth a look. It's worth the drive.
I finally did my experiment, which is not an experiment at all. It's just something that it's been on their menu since probably the day they debuted these things, and for some reason I never put two and two together. But the Cobb salad at Chick-fil-A, I think, is unbelievably good. And I'd never ordered it with grilled nuggets before. And I'm like, I was thinking I'd solved, the A squared times B squared. But
Smartest man alive.
I'm the smartest man alive, but it's right there on the menu. So I'm like, yeah, I just am too dumb to have remembered to ask this, but it's quite good. It's good either way you get it. But man, the old grilly nuggets, they're quite yummy. So, and I love that thing. It really is good. That crazy avocado lime ranch dressing they give you with it is just crazy, man. I love it.
Yeah, man, it's good.
Yeah, dude, Chick-fil-A is great. I love that place. I hate how much I love that place, but I do love it.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, man.
man. That's my other thing that I was into checking out is we're wrapping up Dark Side of the Ring uh, this week, but before that we had the uh, Road Warriors, and
Yeah.
it was one of those
Road Warriors.
the Road Warriors. And it was one of those shows that man, people have been kind of down on it, but I dug it a ton. Uh, a few years ago, I remember I did watch the WWE version. I think they called it the Life and Death of the Road Warriors, whatever that DVD was. And I think this one was a lot more real than the WWE version you would have got. Just because there was a bunch of stuff in there that I was like, what? When did this happen?
Huh?
Huh? But the whole deal about you would think that Jeff Hardy's moment of indiscretion and showing up kind of intoxicated was the only time that's ever happened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we talked about that an awful lot.
yeah, that one gets beat over the head and brought up every chance they get. And honestly, going back and watching, this show, and Hulk's kind of in the ring, kind of not knowing what's going on. It's like, oh man, that was bad. That was not good.
At a WrestleMania, no less.
Yeah, man.
And he still got his job back. So it's just like, nah, I think it's just because Vince is full of crap and we like to trash Jeff for the TNA thing because that wasn't here. So look what they let him get away with in total nonstop action. Please, oh man, that's awful.
I'd never allow that on my show. Let me fix my tie.
Seriously, man. Get out of here, man. But yeah, the WrestleMania footage was like, man, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, not good. And then it's one of the type of deals that gets more stuff they can get into with this show is Hulk going off to Japan and just doing his own Road Warrior gimmick over there. Yeah. I was like, what the crap? When did that ever happen? I've never seen that.
I learned about the Hellraisers from action figures. And then, this is stupid, but I talk about it a lot, so you know it's true. On my old copy of Fire Pro Wrestling Returns, I don't have the PlayStation 4, so I don't have the new version of the game. I'm not interested because I have put so many hours into the old PS2 one with creating guys. I want to keep playing that one forever. I love that game. It's very fun. I'm good with that one. But I like to have my title histories accurate. It's stupid, but I love it. It's a lot of fun. And the Hellraisers, I think, won the IWGP tags twice. So I had to take Kensuke Sasaki, and modify his outfit and give him the green Road Warrior gear and a little face paint. And so I played as them quite a bit. It's fun. It's pretty fun having those guys because Hawk and Animal and Sasaki are all on there. Normally when I'd like do tag teams, what's a good example? Made Johnny Ace. I know I'm an idiot for making Johnny Ace, but him and Doc had the tag belts. I needed them, so I made Johnny Ace. And I pretty much just made him Terry Gordy, but I took Terry's best stuff away from him because I love me some Gordy, and Johnny Ace ain't no Terry Gordy. But you take that, modify things, make them real simple, and then put the Ace Cutter in there, and you pretty much got the guy. Yeah. Anyhow, I would just make Power Warrior like Animal, except Sasaki is on there. And the different moves that it lets you do is... it's cool. I like it. It's kind of fun. But yeah, man, it's just like, hey, man, I'm going to go over here and we're going to be the Japanese Road Warriors. Like, what the hell, man? But they left the part out where apparently he got over it because I'm pretty sure those guys worked 6-mans together for at least once. Because, I mean, can you imagine? You had the Road Warriors who were the Road Warriors everywhere on Earth. You know, that was the one thing that just frustrates me just how grandiose everybody is. It's just one of those things that makes me mad because we do it with music. Movies are about the only one where people will tell you this person inspired me and this scene was based off of this, and I love that kind of stuff. Music, every now and again people will do it, but usually it's just us fans talking about, yeah, I think this reminds me of this, and that sounds like Bowie, and we love that kind of stuff. And musicians will do it sometimes, but wrestlers, for all that crap, no, man, respect the business, and I respect the business, and you won't ever talk about, yeah, I totally got this from so-and-so. I guess it goes, I'm piggybacking on, I'm moving over here for a second, but I'll come back. The Revival's Talk is Jericho, for the most part, was just the same replay of Dean Ambrose that Luke Harper was. It's just like, yeah, man, Vince sucks, and WWE sucks, and I hate that place, and la-di-da. But once they got off that, it was really weird, because my favorite part about that was it seemed like, even with Jericho, when he's asking the questions, he didn't seem annoyed with those guys, but the fact that this has become a paint-by-number seemed to bother him a bit.
Yeah.
Then they started talking about being from North Carolina and the stuff they liked, and clearly Arn and Tully are your biggest influences. And I love Arn and Tully, but it's Bobby and Dennis that I thought his thing about Bobby and Dennis and what made them so good was perfect, and I love that they talked about it. Sorry, man, I've gotten way sidetracked. I don't even know where I was going with that, but I know what it was. Backtracking for two things. One, man, we were the biggest thing in the world everywhere we went. Nobody had ever seen anything like that before, man. It's called the Road Warrior Pop, and nobody had ever been that big in that many different places. And la-di-da, Andre was. Andre's the single biggest attraction in the history of wrestling, including the Road Warriors. But right after Andre would be the Road Warriors, and that's my original point about the six-man. You got the Road Warriors, who are the Road Warriors everywhere. Then Animal is not invited back. Hawk goes to get the paycheck, teams up with Power Warrior. And then they're two-time champions in Japan. And then you can bring all three of them together in a six-man. Dude, I can't imagine what the single payoff paycheck for each one of those guys would have been for that. But I'm sure it was lovely. That's cool. I think that's pretty cool, man. But I think that was most of the footage. I know that they wore blue every once in a while, but a lot of the blue footage, especially for Animal, again, I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that when they did that, Animal was in blue, Hawk was in the red, and Power Warrior's color was always green. So it's like lightsabers, you know. Yeah. I've gotten way sidetracked, but yeah, it was cool. I liked it, but it was just like, I don't know, man. I love me some Andre, and I thought that the biggest thing in wrestling ever. I'm like, no, you're not. I mean, that's a big deal. Oh, we just worked everywhere. Yeah, so did that guy. Andre was everywhere. Andre made it possible for you to do what you did, and I just wish that you can acknowledge that. It's okay.
I guess if there's one other thing to be down on the episode about, I was just kind of upset that how wrong they got, and it comes from Paul Ellering of all people, where he's talking about it was He-Man, the Legion of Doom. Like, no, it wasn't. They even pulled the He-Man punch to the camera. That was superpowers.
Yes, it was the Legion of
Super
Doom.
Friends.
Yeah, the Legion of Doom was the opposite of the Hall of Justice. Yeah, it's like, I thought the same thing. I'm like, no.
So how could y'all get that wrong? Even if you have to cut that part out and just be like, because I know there is footage of Animal saying it right. Probably, I guess the reason why you can't use that is I think it may have been brought up on the WWE release, but somebody somewhere has to have a shoot of him giving you the right name. Like, just cut Paul's story out and just do it right.
Give yourself 3 minutes more of runtime and do them both. If Ellering wants to get it wrong when you've already cut the check for the He-Man footage, put that in there, and then have Animal be like, well, the thing is, it was the Super Friends cartoon. You could do them both. It's okay, because those of us that know. But I thought the whole thing is like, man, if Ellering gets it wrong, that's okay. But them going and cutting in the shot of He-Man, I'm like, oh, no. I thought that ticked me off, too. Like, why did you waste the money on this, man? They didn't give you that for free.
And why even do that? And, with as much time that goes into editing some of that stuff, I know somebody somewhere had to be like, I don't think that's they weren't the evil horde. so this is not He-Man.
Seriously, man. Skeletor and friends.
Yes.
We've got all these warriors. We don't want you to be the Road Warriors. What do you want to be? We want to be Skeletor and friends. Okay.
All right. Let's be the Snake Men. I think that's Snake too.
Seriously.
That's copyrighted. Like a son of a bitch. God. And they threw Kerry Von Erich in there as the modern day warrior. Like, no, he was never the modern day warrior there. You just didn't want anybody to interfere with the Ultimate Warrior.
The Ultimate Warrior is Ultimate Warrior lifted. That's where the name came from. Was he used to work in World Class, and he had the Kerry Von Erich perm, and they thought it's very sad. I feel bad because don't get me wrong, the idea of making Kerry Von Erich WWE champ, that would have been Vince McMahon's wet dream as far as what that guy looked like. But in terms of well, just don't know if he's reliable. Well, the NWA taught him not to trust the kid. I wish he could have, because as far as work is concerned, Kerry's better than Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior combined and multiplied by infinity. Because even bombed out of his mind on whatever Kerry Von Erich was on, he was still fun to watch work. I loved that guy. Kerry was always my favorite of the Von Erichs, but understand, I want to be clear that I didn't know about the Von Erichs until after David. I wasn't even watching wrestling when David Von Erich passed away. I didn't start watching until '85. So Dave was not something I knew anything about till much later. Because basically when I started watching World Class, it was the Joe Pedicino stuff, and they were so far along they wouldn't reference it every day anymore. Fritz decided he'd made all the money he could make off that, so he stopped talking about it. That's mean to say, but hey, man.
That's the facts of the matter.
It's true, man. But yeah, I thought the Modern Day Warrior thing was funny too. It's like, no, he was the Texas Tornado. They didn't even want to call him Von Erich when he was in freaking WWE, because you can't trademark that.
Yeah. So that was just pretty much my take on the episode. It's one of those kind of like, you watch it and you kind of, it just feels like a stopgap between what we're closing the season out with, bookending with some hell tragedy. That's
kind of what I got. And my other thing was, to be fair to the Road Warrior episode, man, David Schultz was so good that pretty much whatever you hit me with after that is going to be a come down. It's okay. It's like, a track, I don't know, track 3. You don't expect track 3 to blow you away. That's why Siamese Dream is such a weird record, because one of the huge hits was track 3. But, you get 1 and you get 2 and 3. Okay, all right, okay. But it's like 1 and 2 you expect to get hit. 3 is, all right, let's mellow out now. They did that on the second Oasis record too, but they mellowed you down with Wonderwall, and there you go. But every song, I think that it's very difficult. I was thinking about this. I saw the little countdown. It's best debut albums of all time, and I was like, I wonder what the best 1-2 punch straight out the gate was. Because of course, half the world picks Appetite for Destruction for the best debut record ever. But I'm like, yeah, but then you follow it up, and it's not that GNR Lies isn't good. It's just that it was half a record. Mm-hmm. Okay, but anyway. But the first 2 Oasis records are pretty much. It'd be very difficult for me to pick which one of those I like better. I love both those albums.
Heck yeah. You can't go wrong either way.
You really can't, man. It's good, man. The third one's okay too when it's good. There's some stuff on it that's like, but the good stuff is good. But that was kind of true for their entire career, because I thought that we've gone from the Road Warriors to Oasis. Sorry, man, but I thought that what's it called? The Shoulders of Giants album. That one's underrated as hell, man, because it's the same thing where some of the stuff is like, oh, that's okay, but freaking Gas Panic, man, Roll It Over, man, the stuff on that's good. It's like, oh my god, Gas Panic, and I love that song anyway. But then they did Familiar to Millions, which was the live record, which I know I say this all the time. Jared can back me up. This happens to me a lot. Bands I like will release a live album, and a lot of times that will turn out to be my favorite. And it's because I like when rock and roll music has kind of a raw sound to it, but also there are certain people that when they sing, it sounds great in the studio, but when you get them live, but the most perfect example I can give anybody, and this is for anyone, I don't know if it's on YouTube or not. I know it's on Google Play Music. It's probably available on Spotify. Excuse me, whatever you listen to your stuff on. If you are a fan of The Clash, do yourself a favor and look up the From Here to Eternity live album. Yeah. Because Joe Strummer's voice live is even better than it's unbelievable. I mean, it's as good as Joe sounds, because Joe's got a cool voice. It is crazy how good he is live. Now, I will warn you, if your favorite stuff is like London Calling and Combat Rock, there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that on that particular live album, they kind of do those like they're sick of playing them. So it's a little bit fast, and most live stuff is faster anyway.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, they kind of don't sound as interested in those, so those might let you down. They're not great, but man, there's a couple of things on there. Freaking the real old stuff, Career Opportunities, and God, what's the other one that's so good? I'm sorry, man. This one's not early stuff. This is later, but the live version of Magnificent Seven. I mean, it's fast compared to the actual Magnificent Seven. It's almost quicker than double time, but it is so good. That's it. Go to YouTube and type in Clash Magnificent Seven from Here to Eternity, and just check that one out. Oh my God, it's so good, dude. There's one other one I can't think of what it is now, but if it comes back to me, I'll let y'all know.
What is the good minister doing to keep Liam Gallagher from leading Oasis and Becky Lynch getting pregnant?
What steps is the Prime Minister taking to ensure that Becky Lynch never gets pregnant again? Because it's just bloody awful. Yeah, man. Got real sidetracked on that. I'm sorry, guys, but yeah, going back to the top of the show, I didn't even mention this part, man. Becky and Seth are having a kid. That's awesome. Good for them, man. But I'm looking at it as a very selfish wrestling fan. It's the thing where it's like, I really do wish they would build, and you don't even have to do an off season. Just offset people's schedule, so you can have the comeback, and we get the big like, yeah, it's good to see you. But it's because you've been on vacation, not because you've been hurt. We're still not doing vacations, but that's what we're doing with Becky now. It's like this is one of those things we talked about it before, man. It's like women's wrestling, when you watch it, the natural flexibility of athletic women, man, when you start seeing some of the like submission holds, and it's the most basic crap that guys do to each other, but women make it look so much more brutal and so much more crazy. That's one of those things I didn't think about what a positive it would be until you see it. It's the same thing. It's all like, and I'm not saying going and having a baby is a vacation. It's not. But what I am saying is it's this fixed period of time where you got to go away. You got to go because you're going to go take care of this thing, and then you will come back. And when you come back, it'll be like Triple H's quad is healed. It's awesome. It'll be like Edge at the Royal Rumble, which is weird. Everybody talks about the second time he did that, but by God, we were there the first time he did it. It was awesome.
Yeah. That was hella cool. And but it's not that it's a vacation. It's just it's the only way that you can get one.
Exactly, totally. Since there ain't no freaking off season, it's like I'm very happy that you didn't have to get. I'm glad that you getting pregnant is why you're gonna go over here and do this thing that's real cool, and then come back and we can be glad to see you, as opposed to you getting hurt and going over here doing this thing which really sucks, and then we'll be happy to see you.
And we might see you, we might not.
Oh yeah, seriously, man.
Yeah. And talking about watching crazy YouTube channels, I got on the Asuka's YouTube. It's just freaking crazy.
It's the best, man.
Man, I get she eats some really weird stuff, but one of her things that she bought herself for getting her title was a one of those arcade 1-up tables, and there's just this video of her putting it together. It's like, that just looks exhausting.
I haven't watched that, but yeah, I gotta get caught up, man.
Oh man, it's a good one. It's just one of those, like, man, because I've seen those in the Walmarts and Targets of the world, and I've been tempted, but then watching her just put that thing together, it's like I would never figure that out.
Construction videos always remind me there's a lot of humor in The Wire, because there has to be, because there's a lot of tragedy in The Wire too. Mm-hmm. But there's this one episode, man, where Jimmy is trying to make a concentrated effort to spend more time with his kids because his wife is basically trying to get him cut out of the loop. So he goes to IKEA and buys some beds and starts putting them together in the guest room, and it goes as well as you would expect for poor Mr. McNulty. And then somewhere along the way, Shakima and her girlfriend they might be married. I think they're girlfriends, I think. They started talking about adopting a kid. And Shakima's not into it, and that turns out to be real bad. And then she's like, nah, I don't want to be without this person. So she gets into it. So for some reason, she's talking about needing a crib and stuff like that. So McNulty gives her the recommendation, oh, yeah, IKEA, it's great, it's all good. And I don't remember anything other than it just being a scene later on where he gets a phone call, and you never see Shakima. All you do when he answers the phone, you just hear her yelling to the phone like, "There's no way your stupid ass got this to put this." She's like so mad at him. It's hilarious. But basically, she's like, "There's no way you can do this, you stupid piece of." It's so awesome. I love that scene, man. But it's the best part is you never see her, man. You just hear her through the phone. It's great. But that's what that reminded me of.
Understood.
Seriously?
Just click.
Yeah, for real. It's like, man, I'm gonna kill you for this, you prick.
Man, that's my one other YouTube video I just kind of happened across was it was from the Saturday Night Live. I think it was going to be part of the finale, but it got cut and it was like a digital kind of add-on where it was Mikey Day and Melissa Villaseñor playing I guess it's not Farmville, it's the other one, Animal Crossing. That's big. Just the way the characters in the game they absolutely hate Melissa Villaseñor's little avatars. It's pretty hilarious. It's worth watching that. Like,
that's awesome.
And Mikey comes over and visits her little part of the town. Like, I think they all hate you. She's like, her one line that had me falling off the couch. She's like, this one says it hopes I get COVID.
God.
So she gets back to her little house or whatever. She's like, I just died. Like, you can't die in the game. Mikey Day finally comes over and visits her little town. It's like, they're inviting me to a party about your death.
That's messed up, man.
I hate that I just spoiled all the funny parts in it, but it's still worth watching.
They're cool, man. It's totally worth it.
Yeah.
Speaking of the SNL cast, I learned something yesterday I didn't know. I don't remember what I was watching, but it was going off, and Crank Yankers was coming on, and I was just, it was all good. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go find something else to watch. While I was watching, the credits are coming on, and Heidi Gardner was in the credits of that. I had no idea that I'd known anything she had done before. Now I'm like, oh, okay, all right, cool. That's then. Cool. Yeah, that's cool. I was like, that's interesting. Okay. That's
like the one sin that you can make to get on that show. Like, well, you can't have done anything before. You must be discovered here.
Oh yeah, it's WWE. Nothing you did before is anything.
Yeah. At least that's at least been the rule since early 90s, at least, when, there was that time in the 80s when, you pretty much had to get some big name people, but it did not last very long. It was, we discover people here. We want people to discover you here. Okay.
Hey,
you got any go?
Yeah, you gotta go.
So, well, that's my YouTube tangent for this week that I went on.
Yeah, my only thing, going back to one of the first things we talked about, man, I fell in the Brian Zane wormhole, man. I've been having a lot of fun watching his reviews, classic reviews for the old stuff. It's been great, man. I feel bad because I started with the worst of the worst. It was what is it? I don't remember what it's called now, man. It's like New Blood Rising or whatever it was, and then that went to Bash on the Beach and Bash at the Beach, sorry. And then I got on Halloween Havoc 98, just the worst of the worst. And I'm like, man, I gotta find some better stuff to watch, man. But it's
three cool. In a row that'll bring you down.
It's messed up. It was the one. I think it's Bash at the Beach. No, Halloween Havoc. It's the Halloween Havoc show where he winds up saying a sentence that I never thought I would hear out loud, but based off the highlights and the competition, it's like, I think he's telling the truth. But he's talking about his opinion that if you watch the crowd react to Disco Inferno, he'd be over like hell right now. And he's probably not wrong as far as the gimmick goes. The guy would never get over. That guy's too big of a prick for, oh my God. People would basically, all you have to do is read any tweet he's ever put out. No chance. He would never get over with people because it's like, oh, you're a Republican? Bye. Because that's all it takes now, man.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe he's right, but it just seems to me like if you watch people's reaction to him and all the dancing and all the BS and all the stuff like that, it's like, I think maybe you're getting the vibe that he would be a Dalton Castle type character, and that would not be this. No, Dalton's cool. But anyway,
that was the time when there was a lot of residual reaction because this was a card that had Hogan and Goldberg and Ultimate Warrior on it, so we're going to be up for all of this show. Then it being a WCW show, it's kind of like, and we're waning.
it was fine until you got to those guys, man, because that's the whole point. Hey, you know, the
Yeah.
mid card, you know, for all the bad stuff said about Vince Russo, he always seemed to have something for the mid card to do, and he's not wrong. It's just they were stupid. It was stupid crap they had him do.
Yeah.
But at least you had Jericho had a good match, and Eddie was involved in some piece of crap. But the point he was making was that Disco Inferno worked twice that night in two pretty good matches, and I'm like, who in the world would ever think that? But the Disco Inferno Juventud Guerrera highlights looked awesome. So I'm like, go on, y'all, that's cool, man.
Yeah. That's one of the things I always remember about that show is I remember, I don't think I watched it live. I think it was in that time when I had a friend that would record it and then I would get it a few days later. And I remember that everybody hates the Hogan and Warrior match. And I remember watching it the first time, and I guess it just comes from naivety and just not being able to see some of the stuff that you see later when you watch it again. The first time I watched it, it's like, oh man, this isn't that bad. And I remember thinking, oh, this is pretty good. And then you go back and you watch it, you're like, what did I see that I liked? But I just remember the close of that show being the best Goldberg match that there was, at least in the WCW.
There's ever been, man. I mean, that was cool because when he got to that part, he was explaining that for a lot of pay-per-view feeds, it got cut off. People didn't even see it. And he was like, so they ran it on Monday, and people got to see it. And that was his take too. Was like, this is one of the better Diamond Dallas Page matches and the best Goldberg match ever. And I'm like, what I saw in the highlights, I agree with both of y'all. It's like, this is good. I wish that Page would have won, but I say that because I'm very biased and I hate Bill Goldberg, but also, to be fair, the real reason I say it is with hindsight, knowing how they were it's exactly what he says in that review, knowing how they were going to take the belt off Goldberg, he'd have been so much better off having Page beat him. And he's totally right. He's completely right about that, man. But, can't do that because the thing that you would mess up there is if you put the belt on Page and then have Hogan or anybody else from the NWO beat him for it, people would have
probably
revolted.
The next night.
People would have revolted. It'd have been like, no way, we're not doing this. Yeah. Excuse me. But just the highlights of that alone, I'm like, that's the best. The highlight package is the best thing I've ever seen from Goldberg ever because I hate that guy because he just bores the crap out of me. But it looked good. Like, go on, y'all, cool.
Yep. And I just and as far as the Bash at the Beach stuff, I remember. I did not see that when it went down. I remember years after the fact hearing about the promo, and it's like it was just the video that you just had to see, and you had to track one down. I think I got like a copy of it off eBay, like years later, just to watch it.
Totally.
And I remember, and it was one of those. It's like most WCW shows. It's like it gets kind of long-winded, and you finally get to it, and you're like, "Is this? This was it?" Is that kind of that's kind of my reaction to it. Like, that's it? Okay.
We talked about it earlier, man, and I could be completely wrong, but that's of all the things, of all the work, shoot, it's a gimmick, it's real, pipe bomb. That one I actually believe. Not Russo. Mm-hmm. Russo's way too. He's real, but he's rehearsed and it's stupid. But Hogan bitching at him that's real because he's not he ain't doing Hulk Hogan voice. He doesn't say brother. He doesn't say dude. Doesn't say none of that stuff. He's legitimately pissed. Like, you're supposed to come out here and do my bidding. What do you mean you're just going to lay down? And I love that because I'm torn on that. I love it because I like Jarrett showing him up because I think Hogan's a piece of trash. But I think Russo is too. So Vince coming back out and wanting to cut his little promo, that's stupid. That whole thing is so dumb. But the main thing about, man, it was a work. They set it up. Then how come Hulk never went back? That's my whole thing. Hulk won the freaking belt, and then he's like, I'm out of here because F you guys. If you won't bend to my will on creative control, we can't do business. And you've breached the contract. That was his whole thing. He tried to sue them for breach of contract because, well, no, it said I got to win. No, you got to win. You won. You got the 3 count, so good luck.
Bye.
Yeah, but it's just all that
We
stuff is so
good
stupid.
thing we have another belt.
Yeah, seriously, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's no problem. That whole thing is just so dumb, man. That whole era is so dumb, and that's why people, man, what really killed WCW? Same thing that put TNA on life support. Whenever you
Mhm.
sign Hulk Hogan, he wants that creative control. If you give it to him, you're dead. You're
Yeah.
dead because that ego's never going anywhere. He is never going to do the right thing for business. That's not him. He's never
Yeah.
going to do that. It's like expecting Vince to make good decisions. It's beyond them. They can't do it. It's the same thing with, well, they got to bring the Hulkster into AEW. You're out of your mind. No, they do not, for several
No way.
reasons. One of them being that he will not sign if you don't give him that creative control crap. And two, AEW's for everyone. Okay, so yeah, let's go get a known racist to be on our shows. Good idea. No, it's not going to work.
I don't see that happening.
Me neither. I don't
Not
give a crap
not the
How
slightest.
Florida centric he is.
Yeah. Uh, thanks, but no thanks.
Man. But we've talked about it before. My main hope for AEW is that they'll come and buy Center Stage. I really hope that's something that they're at least considering. I would love
Yeah,
it if they
man.
would do that.
Be a very, very good idea.
I wish it's what they would do, and because the whole thing is, well, uh, WWE's an essential business in Florida, and that's cool, but Georgia's pretty loose now too. You can pretty much do whatever you want to, but especially if you go to center stage and just black it out, ain't nobody gonna notice. Ain't no one there. You can cover that up real easy,
Hmm.
but it goes back to that thing we talked about, and of course, this wasn't a factor at all when we first talked about it. But man, if you've got a performance center, a place that you can go and shoot your television, boy, that'd be a good time for it. I
Yeah.
would love it if they would. And also, we've talked about it. Center Stage is a theater downtown that they do concerts, and that's where WCW used to be taped. Anytime Ring of Honor came to town, that's where they would go. NXT played a show there once before.
Yeah.
It's a good studio for like a wrestling show. They need air conditioning in there real bad, but other than that,
Yeah.
it's pretty good. Excuse me. So I wish that's what they would do. But anyway, they keep sending us emails. Like, I know Jared and I both are on their mailing list, and it's basically, guys, we're not putting anything on. We're going out of business. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it sucks. It's like, I hate it. So it's like, why don't y'all buy it and just do it? Because then, if you've ever seen an NXT, I'm sorry, an ROH show from there, the Young Bucks basically took turns of which one of them was going to come off the ramp, because there's a little ramp there and little stairs, and you come down and do that thing. So they could do that every week.
Yep.
It would be
Yep.
great. Those guys like that building. They know all about it.
Yeah, man. That's a perfect spot for
Yeah.
whoever wants to get in there.
I'm hoping that AEW will buy it simply because, even more so than the Techwood studio that the NWA is in, Center Stage is the house that Dusty Rhodes built. Cody Rhodes
Mhm.
has told many a story about growing up in that building. So
Mhm.
if WWE bought it, it would just be to F Cody. But at the same
Yeah.
time, they're not cutting all that weight for nothing. That whole, well, WWE can outspend them, which is a myth, because like we've talked about, the Khan family is worth 3 times what Vince is. People don't want to hear that. People don't believe it because Vince is their untouchable, deified wrestling promoter man. But he's the biggest deal. He's been the big deal for a long time. But Ted had more money. The Khans have more money. Just hang in there.
Mhm.
But I would love it. I would love it if he could get that, just because of what it means to the family and to that dude. I would love that. And it would, like we said, it would be so cool to have the NWA and AEW working in the same town. Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Be awesome.
Be pretty daggum good.
Resurgence of the old hotbed. It'd be awesome, man.
Yeah. And with the way things are going, I mean, there are a lot of venues that are kind of like, we don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah,
So
seriously,
that's just
man.
that's just one of several. But I would imagine that it will be pretty cheap pretty soon.
I'm afraid you're right.
Mhm.
And if they can make something out of it, I'm cool with it. That's good,
Yeah,
man.
that's what's
Excuse
up.
me. But yeah,
Mhm.
I would just love it if they would stop doing the tour thing. I've hated that the whole time. I think it's
Yeah.
stupid. You just burn people out. You just do, man.
Tour for pay-per-views. Have your
Absolutely.
central location, and the daily place is just too damn big.
I think so too. Have your TV
Just
studio.
it's a lot more confined, better spot to do shows like what you've been needing to do these past several weeks.
That's what I'm thinking. It's the same thing we've talked about since the beginning of all this started. If you do center stage, and this is what the NWA gets, but they don't have to, because the NWA is a televised show. I'm sorry, it's a studio television show, and that works. What happens if the NWA wants to start doing house shows? What happens if the AEW's got to do house shows? Why? I don't know why anybody thinks that the wrestling house show business has been dead for a long time. I can't believe people are still saying that. But let's pretend you're right. Let's say you want to keep doing house shows. If you get in center stage, if you are in, which the NWA will never do that, but if you're AEW and you want to start doing house shows, you're about, I couldn't give you the mileage because I don't really know my mileage in Atlanta, but there's an airport right down the street that's pretty much the busiest single airport in the entire country. They can get you wherever the hell you need to be.
Less than 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's right there. I mean, you can get anywhere. And you say it's weird. People don't believe that. Atlanta's not busier than New York. New York's divided by 3. You got to remember there are 3 gargantuan airports in New York. So that's how come Atlanta, again, the single biggest one. It can't be busier than LaGuardia. Well, it is, because LaGuardia is divided by JFK and Newark. So yeah, you're right. New York is still the spot, but they got 3 to handle it. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Even LA's only got the 1. Isn't that nuts?
Yep.
Yeah, but seriously, but I think that the whole idea of house shows is stupid. I think that's a terrible idea because we keep talking about saturation and la-di-da and stuff like that. So just tear the thing up, man. Let's just tear it up. Let's say we go back to the way things were. If you are on television, you don't need to do house shows. Oh, but what are they going to do with everybody else? What Dark is for? They've got 2 shows, man. It's like you have SmackDown and Raw. Yeah, and they can't keep the rosters away from each other. So it's like, no, man, you got Dark, which they messed that up too, because guys like Kenny will show up on Dark, and I'm like, you don't need to do that, man. That's somebody's spot you're taking. Yeah. Anyway, I've gotten way sidetracked, but that's the way I'd be doing it. By God. Man, you got to get more work. The guys have to get more work. I would love it if they got more work, but it's just, I don't think that's what we're doing anymore. I don't think that's the business you're in anymore. If you on TV, that's your money. It doesn't matter. House show gates don't mean anything. Vince has proven it. God, well, house show attendance is really down. We've heard that consistently for 20 years now. Yeah. Anyway, I've gotten way sidetracked. Sorry, man.
Man, that's it. That's all, man. What were you about to say?
I want Cody to buy his old building. That's just That's just getting dry. Now that's my number one thing in wrestling now. Is I hope that happens because that would be awesome. And the thing is, I have no interest in being in the crowd. I just think it'd be cool for the company. I would love it. I just think that'd be so cool, man.
Just just to have a central location, regardless of where it ends up being. I think that's just the way to do it. But I think being in Jacksonville is not the spot that they need to be. And it's a lot. You could get that a lot cheaper than it would be to build a new one.
That's true. It's true. Yeah, if you want to go build a studio, good Lord. But I know the tax situation in Florida is real good. So the idea of AEW being incorporated in Florida, they're gonna do that. That's fine. That's totally okay. I got no problem with that. But I'm hoping that Cody's thinking what I'm thinking, because that really would be excellent. But at the same time, like we've talked, and you and I have literally been saying this since day one. The idea of touring around like Raw and SmackDown is a stupid idea. And that was pre-COVID. And now it's even more so, because it's, of course, that wasn't a factor when we were saying it at the beginning. It just makes more sense this is where we are, and we will fly out of here and get to our pay-per-views. And that would just be cooler.
Just pissing money away.
It seems like it, man. I don't know, man. Just doing more of the same. No, man, you got to do that Attitude Era nostalgia. No, you don't. You're not getting those people back. You are not. It's like, I say it all the time. It's the same analogy I make all the time. But it's like, free Beanie Baby night will pack them in. It's like, dude, that was a moment in time. You're never getting that again. Well, in 87, we made this much money and la-di-da and woohoo. Yeah, that was before Vince went to court. That's 0 hour. There's everything that happened before and after that. And as far as, well, you got to make the people believe, you can't. Everyone has been told this is not real. You're not going to get that old school heat anymore because people will never again believe that because they were told not to. You have to do different things now, man. And the main different thing you have to do now is appeal to people and treat them like they're insiders. And that, I say it all the time, but that's Corny's big gripe, is Corny liked it being a closed network. I don't want to say boys club. He does talk a bunch of crap about women wrestlers, but not all the time. It's not everybody. It's hard to explain. I don't really know. But he liked being an insider. That's Corny's big problem, is he loved being an insider, and he hates it. Oh, everyone's just, hey, act like they're one of the boys now. La-di-da. It's what you have to do to get people to pay you anything. You just do. That's the new modern business, and it sucks. But basically, it's like saying if Michael Jordan played today, well, he don't. It's different. It's different because that's the whole thing. Well, Michael would average 50 now. We talked about it, and I do think Jordan's points per game would go up because the spacing and the way the game is played now, man, you get more opportunities to shoot. I think his rebounds would go up, but his defense would absolutely suck, just like everybody else's, because he couldn't play like he did back in the day. Wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. That's what I'm looking forward to, is the close of The Last Dance is tonight, so I put that on the DVR. Wait,
man, I thought last week was the last one.
Yeah, man, that's kind of the conversation I had with a friend about it this week when I finally texted him that it was kind of wrapping up. It's like, you been watching this? He's like, and I got boom, 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 boom. This text coming through like, oh yes. And I don't think it needed to be 10 hours, but it's been a fun watch, and it'll be on Netflix soon to kind of, you can get through it. I think probably a little bit easier that way, but fun stuff to check out. And that's what I'll be doing probably tomorrow, is getting caught up on that and closing it out. But
ESPN is seriously putting that on Netflix.
That's what's going to happen.
Woof. That's a lot less time than I thought it would be, because you know who ESPN's parent company is. Yeah. So it's like, man, really? Okay, y'all. Yeah. But at the same time,
I think that was the deal with. I don't know if that's a Jordan thing or what the deal is, but that's what I've heard, is that it will be on. I don't know when, but it will be on Netflix before it's all said and done.
Very cool. That's cool, man.
Yeah, man. But man, shout out to Fred Willard.
He passed away. That sucks, man. You know what my reaction was when I read that Fred Willard had passed.
What happened? I
said, hey, what happened? Because I'm a jerk. But I'm hoping that Fred would be cool with having made me laugh one more time. Because that's the first thing I thought when I read. So, hey, what happened?
That was one of my reaction when I saw it come across the news feed, and I was like, man, what better way to be remembered than even in death. It's like, it's a funny moment.
I agree. It's like, man, that dude left the earth and made us laugh again. Like, oh man, I could not help myself. It's stupid, but I read that, and that was the comment that I left was, oh, what happened? So that's messed up. But I'm, again, considering what Fred's line of work was, I'm hoping he's cool with it.
Yeah, I think he'd be down with that.
I think so too. He'd want someone to think it.
If you don't know Fred's work, it's definitely worth looking into. He was a lot older than I thought he was, and the last couple of things I saw him on, he was looking kind of frail, but at the same time, I think he was like 83. So it's like an 83-year-old man passing away is not necessarily, oh, that's a shock, but it's nonetheless unexpected.
That was the part that shot me too, was when they put his age in the headline. I'm like, dang, man, he's good for you, man.
He got it in,
and he got he went Bubba Ray on life.
if you don't know his work, looking up anything that he did with Christopher Guest, you'll have a good time watching that.
Mighty Wind. All of it's good, but Mighty Wind. And Anchorman. He was an Anchorman. He was the station manager.
Yeah, he was. I
It
don't
is,
know, Ned.
it is not baloney. Now do your job.
And man, of all the stuff that he did with Christopher Guest, uh, I, I think Best in Show might be the top of the heat. When he's the commentator at the dog show, and he's just like uh, he's the color commentator guy that has no clue what's going on. It's like some of the funniest crap that I've ever heard.
Best in Show is definitely worth your time because it's good all the way across. If for nothing else, then oh man, if for nothing else, Catherine O'Hara walking across that floor at the end of the movie, it's worth your time to watch her do that. Cause I don't know how in the world she did that, but it's great.
Something's wrong with that guy's feet.
But man, mine would be Mighty Wind, but only because that's what happened. He's so good in that. 19 sure that was on a little TV show.
You do not want to be on a cruise ship when dysentery breaks out.
Right.
I mean, you can't go wrong either way.
Oh, it's true. He was great, man.
I want to say if I don't know if he was in even in Mascots. He's he makes the best of his time in any of those movies. Whether it's Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, Mighty Wind.
Oh God.
You know he was there. And,
it's true, man.
When you watch those movies, he's of a movie filled with hitters.
Yeah, seriously. In the All-Star Game movies that are the Christopher Guest palette.
Yes,
you're right. You know he's there.
Yeah, these cast are loaded, and he showed up, and he's memorable in every one of them. So that's saying a lot when you consider who's in those movies.
Competition's high, man.
Yeah. So man, that's what's going down.
Indubitably it is, man. Take it easy, y'all.
Heck yeah, we'll see y'all